Welcome back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. This is the part 2 of Jack D's report with the police. This is where Jack D lives. I find it very interesting that his house is next to the White House, 1119 King Road, where people were lying on the floor at 3:30, in my opinion. Jack D said he was sleeping that night. But there are many people hiding behind these bushes. The car went this direction. It came from 1122 King Road. We see the Sigma Chi fraternity straight down. This house has 2 doors. The door on the right-hand side is where somebody comes out. There are people on the ground near the trees, in my opinion. Takes pictures and then he goes. This is where Jack D lives. There's always been a white Hyundai Elantra parked in front of his house. We know of that. I'm not saying it's his. This is the same house the police used to come for the noise complaint of the guy sitting up on the roof and recording the police. Kaylee Gongalves had injuries that were significantly more brutal than her best friend, who was unalived in the same room, according to a new report, as police continues investigating the unalivings of 4 University of Idaho students. We know that Kaylee and Zana had the most injuries. Zana had over 52 poke wounds because she was defending herself, but Kaylee had gouges, according to her father. It was more brutal. I believe they all were targets, and Kaylee was one of the main targets because she had a stalker. It could have been someone from the sorority. It could have been anyone. Someone she had a relationship with. It could be literally anyone, in my opinion. Jack D knew Zana well. In fact, I think Zana knew everyone well. She was a lively person. Jack D dated Kaylee for 5 years, up and down. That's important because they had a relationship. Where was Dylan and Quinn Kelly that night? They took these pictures and put it on Visco. Everyone was running around allegedly, in my opinion, with masks, K-bars, and different kind of weapons. That's what I saw. And I'm entitled to explain what I saw, not accusing anyone. Why wasn't DM his Visco account checked? It's strange that nobody talks about Quinn Kelly when he's important in this case. He lied and said he's never been to Mascot, Idaho. Well, I have pictures of him and DM standing and opening the sliding door and talking. I've showed you all plenty of times if you go back to the clip I made of Quinn Kelly and DM. This is the last report of Jack D. The first one, he told the police he believed it could be a guy who was like a who was kind of sus, basically. And he said he was lost with the girls, so it sounded like Shawalter. Jack D said he had a fight. Don't forget, he had a confrontation that night with someone at the corner club. I wonder if it was with Shawalter. Now, this is the last page. I think it's very important. He knew to be living in each room. So basically, let's not forget, Jack D knew the layouts of the whole house, 1122 King Road, obviously, because he dated Kaylee on and off for 5 years. And he's saying that to the officer. So the officer asked him to draw it, do some drawings of all the rooms. He did it to his supplement and will transfer them to the Moscow Police Department. I will also scan the sketches and place the scans on a disk to include the audio recordings of Blank's interviews as well as other documents. So this is not my speculations, this is everything the officers are saying, the officer, detective. Number 10, I asked Blank, that's Jack D, if he had any idea who could have been responsible for committing these homicides. Blank advised that he had seen a video from the grub truck on Main Street the night before showing a Blank member named Blank seeming to follow Kaylee and Maddie Morgan from the area of the grub truck before they went home. So this is interesting. He says he's seen a video from the grub truck on Main Street the night before a Blank member named Blank, I think it's Showalter, seeming to follow Kaylee and Maddie Morgan from the area of the grub truck before they went home. So Showalter, I've always believed, followed the girls home. Allegedly. Also advised that he heard from Blank that a man named Blank has been acting predatory at the Corner Club the night before, and the Corner Club had kicked him out. So that is the other guy, I think CM or CJ. Was he talking about Showalter? I asked Blank to describe what vehicles the 4 victims drove. That's Jack G. And he advised Maddie Morgan drove a white Chevy Cruze. That looks like a white Hyundai Elantra. They could have accessed her keys easily. Kaylee drove a silver Range Rover. That's the one she bought on installment, and she still owed money. Ethan drove a red Jeep Wrangler, and Xana Knoedel drove a blue Honda Civic. We took a break, and Blank left the room to speak to his mother, who was concerned about Blank, that's Jack D. Took a break to speak to his mother. Upon returning from speaking with his mother, Blank said, that's Jack D, he did not want to continue the interview without a lawyer being present. We stopped the interview and Blank left. So I took this page from Truth and Transparency. Good job, JD's mom. That's what Truth and Transparency said. Everyone should have a lawyer, no matter what. Without a lawyer, your words can be twisted, without a doubt. So I'm sure Jack D's mother advised him to get a lawyer. Number 13. Blank returned on November 17, accompanied by his attorney, Jed Nixon. So Jack D got his attorney, lawyer, Jed Nixon. After a brief recap of what we had discussed on November 15, we resumed talking with Blank about recollections of what had happened on the night the homicides occurred. Blank said he, Blank, and Blank got back to the apartment at little after 1 a.m. Wasn't it 1:25? Because the screenshot of the picture taken at the grub truck is 1:25. It wasn't 1 a.m., it was 1:25. He said his bedroom was on the main floor. He said he hung out with his friends for 10 to 15 minutes. Blank advised he was drunk. I asked him to estimate on a scale of 1 of 10 how drunk he was. Blank lapses. Had never walked in his sleep and had never acted while asleep. So he said, I've never acted wild or walk in my sleep, so he doesn't sleepwalk when he's drunk or has blackouts, I guess. He would put his level of intoxication at 8 out of 10. That's not good, if you ask me. Just like the scales we do in DSM, 5 for anxiety and all, 8 out of 10 is you're quite intoxicated. It's not the highest, but then you're quite up there. Blank advised he had never experienced memory lapses, okay? He had never walked in his sleep and has never acted while asleep. Okay, that's good. Blank advised he went to bed at approximately 1:20. No. At 1:25 is when Jack D was at the corner club. If you'll remember the grub truck screenshot of him talking to Maddie and Kaylee, it was at 1:25, the last picture taken of him. The girls came to the grub truck at 1:44. So over there's something that's not genuine. Blank said when he woke up the next day, he noticed that he had a number of missed calls from both Kaylee and Maddie. So from 2:46 a.m. that night to 2:53, the last call Kaylee and Maddie made to Jack D, he's trying to say he didn't hear any of their calls. Okay. There was approximately 7 from Kaylee and 3 from Maddie. He didn't hear the 10 calls. And he's saying he came home at 1:20 a.m. when that is not true. He came home much later because 1:25 he was still at the corner club. The picture shows it. I have to go back to all my pictures and screenshots and try and find it. But everyone knows that 1:25 was when that picture was taken. So he didn't hear any calls from Maddie and Kaylee. But I really believe something happened to Maddie and Kaylee at 2:53. Because you can hear at 2:55 a female yelling, "Stop it, stop." It's even in the interview room, Chris McDonough's clips, you can go back and see screaming, "Stop it, stop," a female is yelling. I'm not saying Jack D did anything, but I'm saying, why didn't he give the correct timelines? But I have to go back to this. Blank said that he had no argument with Kaylee the night before, and there was no dispute, and no one was upset about anything. So he sketched all the apartments like the detective told him, the rooms in the apartment. So he knows Xana's room, Xana and Ethan's room, or more like Xana's room. Ethan was just visiting. So he had to draw Maddie's room, Kaylee's room, BF's room, the spare room, and DM's room, and the living room, and the kitchen, and the bathrooms, in my opinion. So Jack D knew this house well. So he said there's a guy who had predatory behavior at the corner club the night before, and he believes he could have done it. And the last person to be seen with the girls, that would be Showalter, in my opinion. And he said he had a confrontation that night with someone at the corner club. I wonder if it was with Showalter, because Showalter and Jack D are both bruised. What do you all think, guys? This is all strange, but the grub truck picture was taken at 1:25 because we see Kaylee and Maddie at the grub truck at 1:44, so he couldn't have been home at 1 a.m. That's a lie. But the police should have put the timelines together. It's completely wrong. So this is part of the report too. Victim 1 individual, Kaylee Jade Gongalves. So they're trying to say Brian did it. I just find it odd with Jack D's timeline. And why did he lawyer up at once? I find that to be very odd. If you have nothing to hide, it's always good to have a lawyer, but when you have nothing to hide, you tell the police immediately. Everything. So if we summarize the most important things, Jack D saying he came home at 1 a.m. on the 13th of November, which isn't true. 1:20, 1:25, that picture was taken with him, Maddie, and Kaylee at the grub truck. The infamous picture. So I have an issue with that 110%. Because 20 minutes of the timeline, he's trying to not be genuine about it, in my opinion. Everyone can go back and see that. Been on this case from the beginning, so I can't ignore the facts. There is evidence here, because Kaylee and Maddie entered the grub truck at 1:44, and the reports say that they left the corner club at 1:20 something. He had to give a drawing of every room and who lived in that room, so that means he spent a lot of time at 1122 King Road. I believe Jack D and Hunter, Emily, Josie, many of them spent a lot of time. Eva says she spent a lot of time. She said from when she gets up to when she goes to sleep, she spends her time at 1122 King Road. So that's one important thing. He had to draw all this. Why did he get himself a lawyer? Why don't you just explain to the police what you know? That is strange to me. And that's after he spoke to his mother. So his mother told him to lawyer up, just like DM did. Everyone lawyered up, in my opinion. He believes it was somebody who was bothering Kaylee and Maddie at the grub truck who was last seen with them. Is he talking about Jack Showalter? And he had a confrontation with someone. So he's trying to say they boxed each other maybe a bit, and then they started drinking shots of alcohol together. He was intoxicated out of 0 to 10. The scale, he was intoxicated 8%. So that's a lot. That's quite high. He said he's never had sleepwalking issues or blackout, I guess. But still, who can testify to that? Is my question. Why does he have injuries when he came at 1122 King Road? And he was directly speaking to DM. Quite strange, in my opinion. Jack D is important because he knew all the vehicles the victims drove, and he knew all the rooms, and he had to draw it. I still have to read the reports, so I'm not going to put my opinion. But all the questions that I have, I've told you. Especially the fact that he says he came home at 1 a.m. That is untrue. The picture of him, Kaylee, Maddie at the grub truck, and Adam and Jack Schwartz on the other side, and the old guy, was taken at 1:25. You can go back and check that. Why did he lawyer up? Strange. This was Jack D at the crime scene. I don't like how his hands look, and I've never liked how his hands has looked. That's just my opinion. Why didn't the detectives check DNA of all of them? It still hasn't come up on the reports. And why is he hiding the left hand behind his back? Is he holding something, or is he strapped to something on his back? I find it to be strange. Something strapped to his back. Why does it... What's bulging out? So Gunderson kept him in his Land Cruiser for 45 minutes. I wonder why. What do you think? Both about Jack D getting a lawyer in the middle of his interview, and about his hands. I'm just showing you what I see. I'm not saying Jack D is involved. Let's not forget, although he said he had a fight that night at the corner club with someone, and they started drinking shots later. But why would he decide to get a lawyer? Unless you know something. Why are you hiding your hands, is my question. he believes it was someone in the corner club who was with the girls at the grub truck class. So I think that he believes it was Shawalter. What about him? Please like, share and subscribe. This is all my thoughts, my opinions and my speculations only. What I'm showing you all is from law and crime. So these are what is out there. I'm just telling you all what I see, what I believe I see. I'm not saying it's true. It could be completely wrong. But many people see the same things true. His hands look very odd. And why would you get a lawyer? And why would you say you came out home at 1 a.m., Jagdi? You came home after 1:25. That picture was taken at 1:25. The one with you, Kaylee, Maddie, standing. You're sitting and they're standing around you. You're sitting on a belt chair and talking. Time stamps don't change. Did he get these injuries from the fight he had? Just a question, because he said it in the report. Just asking each and every question, not only for Jagdi, for everyone. But Jagdi got himself a lawyer. And his timeline is completely wrong. He didn't come home at 1 a.m. Why would he say that? When the picture was taken at 1:25, the grub truck picture. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a lovely evening.